Righty then, welcome back to the channel. My name's Stephen Howson. This is 5 things that we learn watching United beat Spurs. In at number 1 then, Ronaldo, record breaker. Worth mentioning, I guess, he's now become the all-time goal scorer in men's football. It's only his second ever hat-trick for Manchester United. Scored a couple at Real Madrid. Yeah, scored a couple at Real Madrid. Quite a lot, actually, at Real Madrid. He inches closer to being in the Premier League 100 club, which is mad to think that he's not. But he's not. He's not far off it, but he's not in it just yet. Hit back at his critics, single-handedly won us the game today. I think it's been right to call for him to be dropped in certain games. I don't think he's been the problem at Manchester United. Certainly not the problem. I think there's been other problems. But I think there's games when it wouldn't have suited Ronaldo, where team selection would have benefited others. And I don't think it's wrong to call out for that. Today, he was excellent. And that might be the case again on Tuesday night. We're going to have to see whether he can go again straight away. Hopefully he goes into that game with a little bit of confidence, because if Ronaldo's in this sort of form, he scored 3 goals from just 0.83 XG, which is mental. If he can score 3 goals from that sort of low expectation, United are in the next round. Simple as that. Number 2, I don't think I've ever said this before. Fred Masterclass. He was fucking unreal, wasn't he? He had 100% successful... Fred. I'm talking about Fred here. Fred. You know, Fred? 100% successful dribbles. He had 86% pass accuracy. He was passing long. He had 3 chances that he created. He got an assist. He's back healing shit. He's pressing. When he crosses the halfway line and goes into the opposition half, he remembers that he's Brazilian and he put in a shift worthy of someone from Brazil. When he plays in our half, I think he does offer a lot. His energy and his work rate and his commitment are, I think, really underappreciated by a lot of our fans. But there's an undeniable lack of quality about how he moves the ball forward from our half, how he gets caught in possession from our half. But you put him in the opposition half. And we've seen this a couple of times under Ralph Rangnick. Fred in the opposition half looks literally like a different player. Not always a little bit better. Look, it literally doesn't look like the guy that plays number 6 for us sometimes. He looks entirely different. You bring us in a permanent number 6 and we don't have to put Fred back there. And then, do I say we might not need someone? We might not need someone. Jesus. Number 3. I can see the headlines already this week. No Bruno, no problem. After everyone's gone, right, Ronaldo wasn't a problem then. Bruno, this is how it works. People can't analyse things correctly. They just have to look at the most obvious thing. What changed? There's your answer. So no Bruno. I think he's been playing fairly emotionally recently. I've mentioned that in a couple of videos. And when he doesn't provide a goal or an assist, when you look back at his game, it's easy to see and criticise and think it's been wasteful, because often it has. But were United necessarily better through the middle with Pogba's performance? It did feel like we were a touch sharper in the final third. That could have been Jadon Sancho, could have been Ronaldo. Both of them, I thought, had excellent games. Marcus still, we'll touch on that in a sec, but no, Marcus still not great. Ronaldo definitely had more space to operate in, and I do think he benefited from that. Fred, it looked like he had a little bit more confidence and a little bit more license, and I don't think Bruno's a negative impact on Fred. They're mates, so I'd be surprised if he is a negative impact on him, but him not being there certainly was a positive today for Fred. Whether that's an actual correlation or just a coincidence of today remains to be seen. Matic, I thought he was good. I thought he offered a lot. I'd certainly want to see him again on Tuesday. Is Bruno too good to not come straight back into this team? Does he come in for Pogba? Pogba wasn't at the races today. Could Fred, Bruno and Matic work as a midfield free for us in midweek? Ralph's actually got a real decision to make, depending on how ill Bruno is. If he's not fit, then it's not much of a decision to make. Number 4, far from perfect. Far from perfect. Defensively, shocking still. And dealing with crosses, it just wasn't good. Like, I've spoken both on the pod I did for Paddock and also on here last night. Maguire's positioning was just plain incorrect. indefensible. And I was a bit annoyed how Gary Neville and that just glossed over it. There's a time to sort of explain what the correct thing to do is, and why did he have to lunge? He had to lunge because he was in the wrong fucking position. He allowed the game to get ahead of him and was late and had to catch up, and because he had to catch up, he ended up fucking sticking it in the back of our net. Tottenham created more than United did. They had a higher XG than us. A penalty is 0.72, so that's one thing. But they still created more, and they still probably deserved at least a draw out of the game, in all honesty. Tellez was shaky. I still much prefer him over Luke Shaw, but you got to be honest and say he didn't have the greatest game. I thought Delos's impact was minimal. Rashford's impact was minimal. Pogba looked sluggish, looked like he was taking too many touches. So it was far from a perfect performance, but I think we were carried on the back of Fred, Ronaldo, Sancho in a big way today. I thought Varane was all right. Just ordinary, not great. And number 5, something maybe a little bit interesting there. We ended the game with a back 3, and it was a substitution we looked to try and make earlier, then changed our minds when a goal went in, and then actually went and played it anyway. That tells me that that might be a precursor to what we're looking at, possibly for Tuesday. I might try and look at it myself and see if that's something that we might see Atletico try and roll out, or we might roll out for the Atletico game. So we ended the game in a back 3. Is that something that we're debating to try and limit how we concede goals? Is that something we're looking at to try and protect Harry Maguire? There's 2 times Harry Maguire's been good. One is playing in a counter-attacking team, Huel and at United. And yeah, let's just be honest with ourselves. He's not in great form now, but you don't have to just change history. And the other time was playing in a back 3 for England. So is this a potential option here for Ralph Rangnick to trial out a new formation for Tuesday night? I guess we're going to find out, aren't we? But it was interesting to see a little bit of a tactical flip like that towards the end of the game. Maybe it's us trying to limit our weaknesses. And a lot of people mix this up, but actually the way you get better as a team is you eliminate weaknesses rather than improving your strengths. You improve your weaknesses and become harder to beat. So I guess we'll find out on Tuesday, but I'll be back tomorrow, actually, with a preview for Atletico. And there's all sorts of other content coming out as well, so make sure to keep it locked, make sure to subscribe, and if you want to get involved for the rundown next week, then come and join the Patreon as well. Catch you in a bit. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.